All right, we're doing a little sound check. Maybe you could leave me a comment if you can hear all right on the laptop today, so hopefully it should be pretty clear. Testing, check. How you guys doing? There's some voice. All right. I guess it's that time again. How you guys doing? I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. And today, as always, on Monday at 4 o'clock Eastern and 9 UK time, we got Orange Hangs here. I play guitar with a band called Hero Jr., for those of you who don't know me. And I've been playing Orange gear for all 8+ years that I've been in the band now. And my touring rig is an OR50 and a PPC 212. And my session rig, when I'm doing sessions for other artists, is mostly Rockerverb Mark III 50 watt and a bunch of different cabinets, either 112, 212, sometimes 412. My main guitars are Gibson Les Pauls. Today I'm playing a custom shop from last year with Pariah T-type pickups. Great pickups. I just put these in not too long ago and I'm super happy with them. And yeah, I forgot, I'm on the road. I'm in Chicago today and I forgot to bring my amp, so I'm using my Mini Crush like I've done before, and I've got my Mini Crush plugged into a PPC 112. It's on about half, and and it works pretty good. And I'm in the middle of doing some guitar and writing for some film projects right now, and I'm really glad that I had this in my suitcase, or else I'd have been fucked. So yeah, I'm really liking that amp. You guys can ask questions about gear. Like I always say, I've been playing guitar for a long time, but I'm not really that technical. I'm really feel oriented. Blues rock is my biggest influence. Blues rock, mostly stuff pre-70s. I like a lot of grunge stuff. I mean, I like all music. I'm really into song-based rock that jams. I do sessions. I'm a songwriter. I do all kinds of different production and stuff. So any questions that you guys have, how to, implement those kind of things into your band, or if you're not in a band and you're looking to have a career in music or just need some advice, maybe I can help you out. I did get a couple questions between last week and this week. So I did get a really good question from Danny. That's Danni. And I don't know if that's a he or she, but the question came from Latvia, and it was, how can I start writing songs to get recorded by other people if I write in an American style, but I'm living in a country that doesn't always speak English? That's a really good question. And actually, you might have an advantage there, Danny. I don't know if you're listening, but I guess this will stay up there. Um, I've written a lot of. I'm obviously born in America, but I've lived in Europe for a long time, and I have written in a lot of foreign languages. And I think that what I've learned from being a songwriter, and I speak German and I speak a little bit of a couple other languages, but I've written in Polish, I've written in French, um, I've written in different languages, and I think if you've got a feel for songwriting and communicating with other people, it's actually really helpful if you're inspired by American or British rock music or pop music or whatever it is that you like, and you can bring that to your native language. That is really, really a plus because a lot of times in other countries, especially I've toured in Latvia. It's a great country, and sometimes they're looking for things in their own language that are maybe American based or British based. So speaking and writing in your mother language, I think it's always an advantage if you're doing that because there's just a different words besides just writing text and besides having verses and chorus. There's definitely a flow and a meter and a feeling towards the sound of words. And if you grew up in speaking a language, you're going to have a command of that language and the sounds of it, and that together with influences maybe from America or Britain or from wherever, it could really be to your advantage. So I would say first, if you sing, write a couple songs and sing them in your own language so you have some kind of a demonstration of what you do, and look for artists. I mean, in Latvia, it's not a big country, so you've got the opportunity to maybe get in touch with the record label and they'll actually see you, especially if you've got a couple good demos. And never be afraid to never be afraid to put yourself out there. I think that's also really important. For those of you guys that are just joining us, I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. I've been playing Orange Gear on tour for a little more than 8 years. And we're talking about a songwriting question that I got from somebody in Latvia about how do I start. And I was just saying that it's a really good idea to start in your mother language and see what happens. I mean, experience is the best thing regardless when it comes to music. So make your experience and put yourself out there. It's not easy. There's a lot of rejection, and I think that the best thing you can do is work at your craft, and that goes across the board, not just as a songwriter, but whatever you do in music and life. Anyway, if you put in the time and you love what you're doing, I really do believe that somewhere down the line, somebody sees you or hears your work or meets you and thinks you're a good person. And yeah, I think so. Try that. Try that with your songwriting and see what happens. And I do all kinds of songwriting seminars. I do song critiques, production critiques. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram at My Warped Halo, MYWARPEDHALO. You can check out our band Hero Jr. at Hero Jr. And there's a lot more information down there on the YouTube here. I am Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. And yeah, check out the band. I'm a huge fan of Orange. Oh yeah, I love Manchester. Love Manchester. Anything in the north, if you're in the north in England, score the big points. I lived in London for a long time and I loved going up into the north and yeah, Manchester, Liverpool, everything around there. Orange amps, killer in the studio. Today I'm just using the palm-sized orange. This is not a magic trick. This is a palm-sized orange amp. The Crush Mini. is not a toy. Okay, so songwriting question. Other questions that I got. Um, how do I become a studio guitar player? Okay, that's a really good question, and it's wow. Okay, so that's a really deep question, and it's got a lot of potential answers. So let's start with the first thing. Besides being a good musician and having a good feel, I think that's a given if you're going to be a studio guitar player. You're going to be around people all day. You're going to be around other people that expect you to make their vision become a reality. So you're kind of in a servant position a little bit, a service position. And what you can contribute is important, but you're always keeping your clients' goals in mind in their best interest. So if you just come in and shred, obviously that's not going to work. So anyway, there's two types of studio guitarists in my, and this is all of this that I'm saying is from my experience and in my opinion. There's totally no right and no wrong when it comes to music and art, and there's totally no right or wrong way to get in the music business. I mean, some of the things I've learned, I can't even believe I learned them. You know, I've always been interested in guitar. I've been interested in sound, engineering, combining different sounds, but I never really, you know, I always loved it, and that became my career right out of high school. So I'm really thankful for that, and I've learned a lot. But the way I've learned is totally different than other people. And okay, so session guitar. There's two kind of session guitar players. There's the vibe session guitarist that usually comes in to work with artists. They're not sight reading on the spot. Sometimes there's a chart and you've got an established sound or a way of doing things and you're hired because of that. That's the kind of guitar player I am. And then there's people that can walk in and play anything sight unseen off of paper. And sometimes, not always, maybe you're sacrificing a tiny bit of feeling and originality because you're reading notes. But these guys are amazing. And when I was in high school, I had a really cool opportunity on career excuse me, on career day to sit next to Tommy Tedesco at Universal Studios during a recording session. And for those of you that don't know about Tommy Tedesco, he's one of the legendary studio guitar players. I think he started working in the 50s and he continued all the way up until he passed on a few years ago. And I sat next to him for a whole afternoon and I was watching hey man, how you doing? How you guys doing? And I was watching him play and I was watching him like read 16th and 32nd notes at speed with no rehearsals. And it's like, I am not going to be able to do this. It's like, there's absolutely no way. I had a little bit of training and I knew how to read music, but the degree to which some of these guys can come in and read music on a film session, you really not only have to have a feel for your instruments, you need to play lots of different instruments and you need to come through without choking all the time because all of these sessions are usually pretty high budget. So that's one type of playing. And then the other type is the guy that comes in and they need someone that's like part of their band for the day in the studio and it comes in, offers suggestions, might screw up a couple times, but when they get the part, it's something really unique and it's definitely something that that artist wants. And it's done more in an environment like you would do in your rehearsal room in a band. And that's the kind of session player I am when I'm not touring with my band. So from those two sides, you both on each side, you got to be a person that you can get along with, a person that you can communicate with, back and forth with, and you need to have ideas, you need to practice. And what I could recommend for someone that wants to start playing studio guitar, even if you're 14, 15 years old and you're just starting out, find friends that don't play guitar, that sing, play bass, that write songs, that need guitar. And that's your first experience of how can I be of service to your project. And I think that that's the real key. It's like if I walk in and I'm like a superstar, that's not going to work on a session, because usually you're working with someone that is the focus point of the attention, either a band, a singer. So it's my job to really blend in and come up with things that people like to hear, and be aware, when you're playing things, you can really tell if people are liking what you're doing or not. And I think some of this experience, I mean, I used to sit in my room and play guitar to records. I knew about sounds, which is also very important. um, I knew about a lot of different styles. I was always a rock guy. I mean, I was a blues rock guy. I think from the time that I was 8 years old. So that's always been my specialty. But as blues is kind of the basis of most music, I really did find my way. I'm really into Daniel Lanois type of layering, using a lot of effects. But in the band, when I'm playing, I'm just playing straight in the amp with minimal amount of effects. So I've got a wide range, and I bring that to the table when I'm in the studio. So when you're just starting out, or you want to get into playing studio music, you're going to need to have a demo if people don't know you. So the best way to have that demo is to offer your services for cheaper, to get on people's records or to get on people's recordings. Say there's a, a girl or a guy that's playing folk music in your neighborhood, or in a local club or a bar, or at school if you're younger. Go up to them and say you want to work on some demos. And that's the best way, is seeing what it's like when money isn't involved. Because no matter what you're getting paid for this job, I mean, I get to make music every day, and just doing that is, it's great. I mean, I would do it for free. It's the thing that I love the most in the world, is making music. So when you're starting out, get involved in lots of things. See what you're good at. See what you like. Because if you're good and you love a certain style, stick with what you love, because there's a really good chance that people are going to give you a shot doing what you love. I think with any kind of art, yes, it's possible to have success if you're just trying to make money and you're really talented. There's tons of people that can do anything, and they just do it like a machine. But if you really love something and that's where you're headed, follow that for a while and see where it takes you. Because if people love you for you being yourself, they're going to love you for a long time. And I think that's really important. So that's a little tip about getting into studio guitar. For those of you that are just joining, my name's Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. Been working with Orange, playing their gear on tour for more than 8 years now. And today I'm using the smallest of my rig, which I have not used on tour yet, but I do love this. And that's my Crush Mini through a PPC 112, because what's great is on the back of this little thing, there's a speaker out, and it powers big speakers. This is such a cool little amp, and it reacts. It sounds orange. You can't mistake that sound. And what's really cool too is when you turn your volume down, it reacts pretty close to a tube amp for not being a tube amp. And it takes effects pretty good too. That is a beast. Wow. Every time I plug that in, I love it more and more. Okay, other questions from last week. By the way, I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr., and I've been using Orange on tour and in the studio for little more than 8 years. My main rig is an OR 50 with a PPC 212, and in the studio, my main rig is a Rocker Verb Mark 350 watt, and most of the time I'm playing that through this cabinet, which is just the PPC 112, and it mics up great, sounds really good. If I'm doing a heavier or grungier session, I might use the bigger speaker cabinet, but I'm really good with this cabinet for everything. It's really clean. The RV50 is really clean. The clean channel's great, takes effects really well, and yeah, it's a great amp. Okay, this question is from James A. And he said, "What DAW are your favorite? Is your favorite recording rig, and what are your favorite plugins?" Okay, my favorite digital record, and I really do like, if I have the chance to record the tape, I'm gonna do it. But Pro Tools is my digital medium of choice. I've been using Pro Tools for a long time, and since I'm not really a technician, somehow I adopted a style with Pro Tools, and I use it more as an instrument. I mean, I know Pro Tools in and out from the technical side now, but I really do find that since I use a lot of live drums, I use a lot of sound manipulation. I don't do as much pop music as I do rock stuff or edgier film and TV kind of stuff. So I'm more into the way the workflow works on Pro Tools. There's some really great features on Pro Tools that I've just got used to using. But I think there, as far as sound goes, I mean, some people say some rigs sound better than others, but I think the basic platforms, if you're putting good music in and you're playing from the heart, it's going to sound good no matter what. My favorite plugins, I mean, I'm not really a huge plugin user. I mean, I have a ton of plugins because there's always the right thing for the right job. Um, I am really loving for compressors. Okay, the best two plugin deals out there, I think, are Steven Slate plugins. I mean, I think it's $15 a month, and you get everything you need, and it's top quality. Some of the Slate plugins are as good as some of the hardware plugins that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So if you're working at home and you can afford it, $15 a month to have that kind of gear in your computer, it's really good. And whether you actually know how to use it or not, I mean, it's great to learn how to use the gear that you have, but experimenting's fine too. There's a lot of good presets to start from. And what's also really good about the Steven Slate stuff, and I'm not paid to say this, I pay for this gear. Um, the tutorials are really great, and I mean, I've been doing this job my whole life, and I still watch the tutorials because you always can learn something about not only the gear you have, but everybody does things differently. And that goes with producing, writing, it goes with guitar playing. I mean, we all have our own styles, but every now and then you just see something from somebody else that gets you really excited. And the Slate plugins are great. The way they run their company is great. Customer service is great. And I use that stuff on a lot of records. So I'd recommend that. The Plugin Alliance suite of plugins, also probably around 15 bucks. It's great. It's a different setup, lots of different stuff. There's some really great synthesizers, um, more grungy stuff, great compressors. They've got the Shadow Hills compressor, which is a really good compressor. And then Black Rooster Audio, that's the third company that I really find myself using their plugins a lot. They've got really, really good compressors. Um, they're 1176 and LA2A Uri compressors, which are, for those of you that don't know, those are two mainstays in high-end studios. The LA2A is a tube compressor, and the 1176 is, I think it's a FET compressor. They're, yeah, and both of those are classic compressors, and their emulations are also some of the best there is. So between those three companies for the rock stuff, I get most everything I need. And let's see, I do like another company. I use their, if I'm doing some programming stuff or I'm doing kind of more modern stuff. The X for, it's called XFER. That's a really cool company. They've got a couple great synthesizers that are a little different, and they've got my favorite little drum machine that's called Nerve, and that little thing does so much stuff, and it just makes creativity and the workflow good. So that's a good question, and but I think for me, like some people approach working digitally as a technical thing. Things have to be this way, and I mean, for example, our band, we record digitally, but we don't use a click track. We record totally live. So when I'm working on Pro Tools with my band, it's like as good as we are as far as rehearsing and touring, all the things that have gotten us as a close knit unit, it's right there on the screen and I'm done. We don't overdub. It's just we shoot it down as it is. It's not more than, I don't know, I think it's 12 total tracks. And it's all about how well we've rehearsed and how well we gel. And then there's projects where I start with a loop, and so I'm on tempo grid. And for me, I've pretty much adapted to work the same way with or without a click track. The good thing about Pro Tools as well is you can tap the transients and you can edit. I can edit as fast off grid as I can on grid. So I love Pro Tools, but I think you need to try different things out. And I'm sure because I started on Pro Tools, that's why I still love it. I've used Logic, it works fine. It's just not my thing. And Ableton Live is awesome, but I still do mostly live recording or more band oriented or guitar oriented stuff, which I find Pro Tools to be a better system for. So that was that one. Yeah, good questions. I'd love to know what you guys are doing. You can leave a note in the comments. Are you guys in a band? Is there a band we should check out? Are you guys working, or do you want to work as a musician, or what's your story? Put it down. I'm Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. Today I'm playing Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul. It's a 60s reissue from last year. I love this guitar. It's great. And I've got Pariah T-type humbucking pickups in it, which are just killer. And I'm playing through a Crush Mini and a PPC 112. I got the Crush Mini on about half, and I got this going out with the speaker out into the PPC 112. Pretty good sustain for a palm-sized amp. Thanks, man. Yeah, this guitar, I never thought. My main guitar is a 1972. It's a Les Paul Deluxe that was converted to a standard as a factory option back in 1972, I guess. And so I've got an original one of those that I picked up, and I love that guitar. I've toured exclusively with that guitar for 8 years, and I just got this one the beginning of the year. And I gotta say that this is really, for a new Les Paul, this really, it plays like an Yeah, that's a good guitar. I really like it. All right, see what other questions I got from last week. A lot of people, it's so funny. Yeah, it's really true. This one's from Brian D. Um, yeah, I really do hit my strings hard when I play. I mean, maybe it's because I was angry when I was growing up. I have no idea, but I really do. And with the band as well, like, people have watched the Hero Junior videos and they just say, man, you bash your guitar. And it's like, I've always had a pretty heavy touch. And so picks and strings, I used to break a shitload of strings. I pretty much played Les Pauls. That's been my main guitar. I did a couple tours with other artists, years and years ago, and I played a Telly. When I toured with Marianne Faithfull for a couple of years, and I played a Telly, and that was just because it had to be that way. But 99% of the time, I'm on a Les Paul, and Les Paul can take it. I mean, if I was playing a Fender Jaguar, I would totally knock the strings off the bridge. That's just the way I play. So I'm using DNR Pure Blues 11 to 50 strings, and on this guitar I would use 12s. They feel really light on this guitar, and I'm using picks. I'm using Fender, just straight up heavy picks. I think these are the Rick Nielsen ones, but I always use the red, white, and blue ones, not out of patriotism, but I just like the way those feel for some reason. I think everyone's got their pick vibe. But yeah, I've always used these picks, and I've been playing on 11 strings for a really, really long time. When I started, I think I started I mean, I started on nines because I wanted to play fast, but I really think that it sounds better playing on heavier strings for me. And like I said, everyone's got their own way, but these strings are really. I love the way this little amp really feeds back. Yeah, so that's the Mini Crush for under $100. Another really, really cool thing. When we toured, I always keep that in my backpack in the van. It's really good for backstage. Other good thing for backstage. I can't move my computer, so I can't show you. But Orange makes the Getaway Driver, which in itself is a really cool distortion box. Turn my distortion. It's not a fuzz. And on the Getaway Driver, there is a really cool feature. It's like a headphone direct out, but it's more of a speaker simulator, and that's something that I keep in my backpack for backstage too. Clean sound on this little Mini. See what it's like with some delay. This is like my travel pedal board that I just keep with me. It's got all the extra stuff that I don't use, but this is also cool through that amp. I just did this on something the other day. Carbon copy. It's a really good little 50s vibe. Fun. But my favorite on this is when you just crank up the gain all the way. Hey Dan McAvoy, thank you. Yeah, this is really, it's really cool. And like I said before, I didn't have my other amp with me, and I have to do some guitar tracks on a project I'm working with on a friend of mine in LA, and I'm using this with some real normal over-the-counter pedals, and it's really, really, it's working. I'm using everything I got is super cheap, not cheap, but inexpensive. I've got a Line 6 green delay, and I mean, for those of you who know the band and know me, most of the stuff I really like is either vintage or people that have done a good job cloning something vintage so I don't have to take things out on the road. And actually, I'm an Echoplex person at heart. I've got 2 tape Echoplexes. I love them, not only for guitar, but for vocals, for keyboards, for anything. I'm a I'm a super, super big Echoplex fan. And Jim Dunlop makes a great Echoplex clone, and it's not expensive. It's got tap tempo. It's normal pedal size. So that's what I've that's that and a Memory Man from the end of the 70s. Those are my main things that I'm using on my gigging pedal board with the band. And this is I built this pedal board actually because I was doing some yoga music, kind of Pink Floyd kind of spaced out stuff. And so I just put some stuff together. And I got to say that outside of being in a loud 70s rock band, the Line 6, the green one, it's really great because it's got 3 presets, it's got tap, it's been around forever. I've had one of these for 10 years and it has never broke, and it's cool. I mean, it's not vintage, but it totally gets the job done. And for cleaner stuff, even through this, so I was using this kind of thing on a track yesterday just through this amp. It's really cool. And it's got that you can get the modulation. Anyway, I did have to use this amp on a session, and I totally got away with it. And I'm sure you could play a gig with this if you put a microphone in front of it. Why not? All right, let's look and see. Oh, I have a whole other page of questions that I didn't get to last week. Awesome. Um, Porter D. I write songs but don't sing or write lyrics. How can I get better? All right. Not everybody writes lyrics or sings. I mean, I sing, but I really don't like singing. And I've always ended up, since I started, I always ended up working and partnering with singers. So I've never had to sing, even though I guess I could sing if I had to. I don't have to. So the thing about songwriting, again, you don't need to be a good singer. You don't even need to be, you actually don't need to be good at anything except writing songs. I think um, it's something that is really overlooked because there is a really big difference between songwriting and production. Production is what happens after you write the song. And I think the lines have gotten muddled a lot since technology in the 80s, since digital and everything. But a good song is a good song. And back in the day, I think when, back from what I've read in the old days of songwriting in the 50s, it's like the songwriters, they actually just wrote the melody, the lyrics, and the music on the piano mostly or guitar, and then someone else would produce it and sing it. And things have, they've crossed over and everything's got mishmash now. But a good song is a good song. So you don't have to sing to write a good song. I mean, obviously, it helps if you sing when you do a demo, but that's what demo singers are for as well. So if you if you want to get better at songwriting, the question is one, find a songwriting partner that does sing and that does write lyrics, and you put in the part that you want to, or start developing your lyric writing and your singing to the best of your ability. I mean, anyone can write lyrics. Yes, there's a gift and a way of writing lyrics, but I think there's also, yeah, I mean, I know from my way. And my way is I grew up and I really learned step by step. And I was really lucky to have worked with so many cool people that were actually making records when I was in my teenage years. So I was really learning from experience, and that doesn't happen as much now, I don't think. But there's what is really great now is there's so many classes online, and even if there's no definitive way to teach songwriting, check out what's out there. Keep a notebook. It's what whenever someone asks about songwriting, my first thing is keep a notebook and write down what you see during your day, because that's what songs are made of. What you see, what your opinion is, or just what story you want to tell if you make it up completely or any combination. There's absolutely no rules. Yes, there are some points of writing a good song, or if you're writing a song for the radio, what needs to be. But first, just write a song without a goal except to write a song. And believe me, we all start out writing shitty songs. When I started writing songs, they sucked balls really, really bad. And it really, in my opinion, songwriting grows as you grow in your life. So, the more things I was learning in my life, through touring and working with different people, seeing how different people work, and just the normal day to day things in my non musical life, that really did help my songwriting grow a lot. And obviously, I mean, I was huge Beatles and Stones fan, Dylan, the band, Neil Young, um, as far as songwriting goes, and that together with all of my favorite rock bands like Led Zeppelin and Sabbath and Hendrix. I mean, I was really exposed to so much shit that turned me on that somehow, you know, as I started doing this as a job, it started blending together, and I, found out what I liked and what I didn't like. And with anything art, it's something I say a lot. Go for what you like, because if people like you for what you like doing, you're going to have a career a lot easier than if you're trying to please people with what's hip or what you think can sell. Because, you know, we're in 2020 now, and the opportunities in the music business, they've just changed. It's not the way it was when people started making music in the 60s and the 70s, when there was just a wide open palette of all these things. And it's different. I don't think anything's better or worse. I just think that things are really different. So check it out. Which reminds me, if you guys like reading, this is what I'm reading now. It's called Sound Man by Glyn Johns. If you know who Glyn Johns was, he's a legend. He engineered Led Zeppelin. He worked with the Rolling Stones. He worked just with a ton of people. And he's had a current career. You know, he's got to be in his late 70s, early 80s now. But that guy, he's and his storytelling, um, with the way he works and the jobs he's had, he's worked with a lot of my heroes. So it's really awesome to read these stories. And I never read this book before, but Sound Man by Glyn Johns. It's a great book. And there's another one too, Phil Brown, really legendary British record producer and engineer. He's got a book called, I think it's called Are We Rolling, or something with rolling in it. Another great book, totally different storytelling, but both, really cool things. I'm a really big fan of seeing how people did things, especially stuff that I listen to a lot. And because I'm making records and doing songwriting and playing guitar and everything, I really love to see what other people, how they do their work, because I think there's always something cool to learn from other people. So back to Porter D's question, I was rambling. Yes, you don't write lyrics and you don't sing. So first, singing a little bit harder to for a lot of different reasons. I'll get into that if you want. But keep a notebook. Walk down the street. What do you see? Um, Listen to your favorite bands and see what they sing about, how they sing about it, different ways of telling stories, different ways of, are you going to talk in the first person? Are you going to talk in the third person? How are you going to, is it going to be something filled with images? Is it going to be a story song? There's so many different kind of songs. Um, Check out online, check out all the different people that are doing things, that have done it before and that are offering classes on it. I mean, even if it's not your style of music, a good song is a good song. And it doesn't matter, there have been some great cover. Like, I'm not a huge fan, but it's a great record. Tori Amos did a covers record, and she really went about her way covering some songs completely the opposite way of how they were written. And there's 10 killer covers on there. And just to see, even if you don't like Tori Amos, that's not the point. The point is that a good song is going to be a good song no matter what. And there is a difference between a good song and a good production. A good song means that you've got a great melody, you've got great chords, and it weaves together and it makes a song. It's got good structure. Those are really, the basic things in a song. Something you could play on acoustic guitar, piano, sing a cappella. If you can do that and it gets the song across, it's going to work in every genre. And production, that's what you do to the song. I mean, you can have an AC/DC song and do it as a piano ballad, and it's going to work because it's a really good song. And I think a lot of people, especially now, they mistake that because, you've got all this computer gear at home and you can sit down and play one key and it already sounds like a record. But that doesn't mean it's going to sound like a song. And I really, as much as I love kick-ass rock and roll and experimental songs and things that are just really expressive, if there's not a good song there for me personally, I'm going to get bored of it after the second or third listen. And that's everyone's different, but I really do like the integration of really good songwriting together with really rockin' music. And yeah, just always be aware that you don't need to be a good singer. You can sing great lyrics out of key and show those to a really good singer with a really good feel, and you're going to have your music portrayed, in the proper light. And I think that yes, somebody wants to hear a singer that's reasonably in key or reasonably full of feeling when they sing your song. But a good song is going to be a good song no matter what. And I think in answer to that question, um, don't be afraid to try stuff. It's really easy to be self-conscious when you're writing songs because you're creating something. It's a private space and you're going to get rejected too. So you play something to someone, they go, "Oh, that sucks." It's like you got to grow a skin if you're going to do art or play guitar or be in a band. It's like, you know, there's something for everyone. So the thing that you love the most and that you protect with your life might be something that someone hates and you just can't take that personally. And that's coming from someone that took a lot of stuff personally when I was starting out. So yeah, it is do your thing. That's what I could recommend the most to all you guys, whatever it is you do. Um, my name's Ken Rose. I play guitar with Hero Jr. If you want to check out some of the stuff that I've talked about, you can check out the band online at www.herojuniormusic.com. Obviously, we're not touring now because of COVID-19, so it's going to be a while. But we are putting a new album out soon, and you can get posted through my Instagram, the band's Instagram. Orange will mention it, I'm sure, as well. The band is at Hero Junior, HEROJR. You can reach me if you got any questions for next week, have any song questions. I do classes, I do private tutoring as well sometimes. Um, you can get me at My Warped Halo on Instagram. That's MYWARPEDHALO. I think all the links should be at the bottom of this YouTube when we're done. And yeah, today I played guitar through my Mini Crush and my Les Paul with Pariah T-type pickups. And I'm quite pleased again that whenever I use this little amp, it's sounding badass. All right, that does it. I am Ken Rose from Hero Jr., and this will happen every week. Oh, my computer froze. Oh, there we go. I'm here every Monday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock UK time. Thanks for hanging out, those of you that hung out, and stay in touch on social media. Check out all the stuff Orange is doing. It's always super cool. And yep, have a good week. Take care. Lots of love. See ya.